Hello, my lovely students. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the English class with your sweet teacher, Sevgül Kurtuluş. In today's video, I'm going to teach you about comparative and superlative adjectives. So, what are comparative adjectives? They are words we use when we are comparing different things or different people or different places. Okay? So, let's look at a little bit more into this. And here on this page, I just wanted to remind you about what a noun is and an adjective is before we begin. And a noun is a person, a place, or a thing. So, for example, computer is a noun because it's a thing, or classroom is a place, and at the same time, it's a noun. And what should I say about adjective? Adjective is a word that describes a noun, okay? And if I called your class, it's a great class. Great would be the adjective because it describes your class. It describes the noun. There are another examples like I'm hot, I'm tall, I'm rich, I'm poor, and we use these words to describe something, to describe myself, okay? So, a lot of the times we like to compare things, and in English, we often compare two things, and when we compare these things, we need to use comparative adjectives. So, we have some rules when it comes to using adjectives to compare two things. We use comparative adjectives when we want to make comparisons, and we use then when we want to compare one thing with another thing. For example, here we have Taylor Swift, we have somebody, and we will compare Taylor Swift with Ariana Grande, and we will use then because we want to compare somebody with somebody else. Taylor is taller than Ariana, or Ariana is shorter than Taylor. We use comparative forms, comparatives, to compare two things, two people, two places. For example, here we compare John and Bob. John is thinner than Bob. My house is smaller than my friend's house. It's more expensive to travel by train than by bus. In Turkey, I think it's cheaper to travel by train than by bus. And now we will go on with superlatives. And I want to say something here. In comparatives, there have to be two things to compare. But in superlative, we compare one thing, one person, with the rest of the group, okay? And what I'm telling you is this one is number one. There is no other competition for this adjective. We use the before the superlative adjectives. And we use in when we talk about places. And we see the example. We have five singers, but I only talk about Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is the tallest singer. Okay. We use superlative forms to compare one thing, one place, one person with the rest of the group. John is the tallest in the class. He is the best football player in the team. This is the most expensive hotel I have ever stayed in. Now, let's look at how we form comparative and superlative structures. And we will study comparative and superlative rules, okay? They can be a little bit boring. And to make comparative form of adjectives, to make a superlative form of adjectives, first, we need to know how many syllables are in the adjectives. A syllable is a vowel sound. We are only going to count the vowel sounds in the adjectives. Usually, if an adjective has only one syllable, we add er to make the comparative form, and we add es to make the superlative form. And you have an example, tall. Tall is a small word. It's one syllable, okay? It includes only one vowel sound, A. So, when I make it in comparative form, I add only er, tall, taller. And to make it superlative form, I add es and the end of the adjective and the in front of the adjective, and I make it the tallest, tall, taller, the tallest. Adjectives of two or more syllables take more and most. Beautiful. This is not a small word. It includes three syllables, so I use more to make comparative form, okay? And I use the most, I add the most in front of the adjective to make it superlative form. The most beautiful, I'm sorry, and more beautiful. Let's go on. And there are some spelling changes, my dears. If there is one vowel followed by one consonant at the end of the adjective, we often double the consonant. Big, bigger, the biggest. We double G, okay? We use double G, bigger. And this was the first spelling changes, spelling rule, and we will go on with another one. If the adjective ends in Y, this often changes to I. Okay, dry, drier, funny, funnier, the funniest. For example, when we have words that end in Y, like happy, busy, hungry, and these all have two syllables, but it doesn't matter. If you have your adjective that ends in Y, use er or es and then change it to IER, okay, in comparative forms. In superlative form, change it to IEST. We never use most or more with the adjectives that end in a Y. I guess it's clear. And now let's go on with the other rule, another spelling change. If the adjectives ends in E, we don't add another E, just we add R, okay? Nice, nicer, the nicest. Is it clear? I hope it's clear, okay? And the comparative and superlative forms of clever, common, cruel, friendly, gentle, narrow, pleasant, polite, shallow, simple, stupid, quiet can be used with both forms, and they are formed with er, es, or more or most. Gentle, gentler, the gentlest. Also gentle, more gentle, the most gentle. And I can say here adjective that ends in er, le, or ow. For example, gentle, narrow. As these end with these endings, we are going to make it er, es. But if you said the most gentle, nothing happens. You can use both forms, okay? There is no problem. And now lastly, I will focus on the exception. Of course, with everything in English, we have some exceptions, and exceptions make things a little bit more difficult to understand. But we have to memorize them. And here we have irregular adjectives, irregular forms of comparative and superlatives. For example, adjectives: good, bad, much, many, little, far. they are a little bit different, okay? For example, you cannot say I'm the goodest. You cannot add es here to make superlative form. You have to say I'm the best. Okay, my dears, I guess now it's clear and understandable. And when you want to say I'm the worst, you cannot say I'm the baddest. Okay, you have to say I'm the worst. You have to memorize these irregular forms of these adjectives. And now it will be better practicing now with comparative and superlative forms. Okay, now let's practice. Comparatives and superlatives. How about listening the pronunciation of the planets in the solar system? Let's listen.
Venus,
Venus,
Jupiter,
Jupiter,
Mars,
Mars,
Neptune,
Neptune, Uranus,
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 Saturn,
Saturn,
Mercury,
Mercury. Let's listen the sun.
Sun,
Sun,
Earth,
Earth,
Moon,
Moon. And next we will go on. Now we will practice. Jupiter is bigger than Mars. Jupiter is the biggest planet in the solar system. The moon is smaller than Earth. Mercury is the smallest planet in the solar system. Now we will compare Mars and Earth. Of course, we'll use comparative form. Mars is colder than Earth. Venus is hotter than Uranus. The Sun is the hottest star in the solar system. Saturn is closer to the Sun than Neptune. Mercury, the Sun. Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun. Neptune, the Sun. Neptune is the farthest planet from the Sun. Here we use the superlative form of far, okay? Far, the farthest. Now complete the sentence with the right form of the adjective. And here we have Jupiter and Mars. We have two planets, okay? And we will compare these two planets, okay, my lovely students. And of course, it will be in comparative form, but we have to remember one of the spelling changes. If there is one vowel followed by one consonant at the end of the adjective, we often double the consonant. And so the answer will be Jupiter is bigger than Mars. Complete the sentence with the right form of the adjective again. Jupiter is planet in the solar system. Now we've compared Jupiter in the group, in the who, and so we will use a superlative form, and when you see the, you can understand that the adjective will be used in superlative form. So we will say biggest. Of course, we will use double B, okay, you know the rule, double G, and biggest. The moon is smaller than Earth. Mars is colder than Earth. Yes, correct. Mercury is the smallest planet in the solar system. It will be smallest, but let's try to do it smaller, okay? It's superlative form, but we don't need to do all the answers correctly, okay? Sometimes the teacher can make mistakes, and so I choose small. Oh, it's not right, it's not correct, and so I have to choose this one. Okay. Venus is hotter than Uranus. Okay. Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun. Neptune is the farthest planet from the Sun. Here we use the superlative form of far. It's farthest.